Coming to you live from deep within a windy and leafy and cloudy radioactive wasteland. We are the survivors of the alt-right Kek apocalypse. The few, the brave, the bitchy. Once more wading into battle against the perpetually whining feminist zombie hordes with Rantzerker, number 185. Lilly Singh isn't unfunny. She, her audience isn't wrong. Her audience is wrong. She is actually entertaining. All of you are just a bunch of
you are sorely
racist,
mistaken.
Sexist.
Yes.
You are sorely mistaken. You see, when you don't have the impulse to laugh, that is sexism. And I know laughter may feel like something that's just arises almost unconsciously, but the truth is that you are consciously choosing to victimize her as a woman.
Yeah, by not laughing.
By not laughing. Because everybody knows when you present yourself as a self-righteous victim, everybody's urge in the response to that is to laugh. Actually, you know what? You should laugh. You should laugh long and hard at Lilly Singh.
Yeah, no, laugh at her, not with her, or know.
As a result of her own self-depredation.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, I look at it, it's like in the second Republican debate, Mike Pence tried to crack a joke, a sex joke about his wife.
Ew. And
that thing went down like a lead balloon. It just, nobody laughed. He was like, aren't you supposed to laugh now? Yeah, it was terrible. It was, and Chris Christie also tried to make a sassy joke and came across as, a complete
as
loser,
we know,
but
as entertainers, like, we're not particularly, I guess we do entertain somewhat. I mean, I have in the past noticed that there is the occasional feminist that watches us because they find us funny, which is really interesting. Not laughing at us, but just that it's like we are just funny. I guess we're comedians of a very amateur nature, at least in my case. What I was getting at is when you're an entertainer, like when you're a writer, a storyteller, an entertainer, a comedian. Obviously, if the audience isn't appreciative, it's their problem. It's not for you. And that is the key to success.
Yes. It's never give the audience what they want. Always give them what you want. And and if they don't like it, then there's just something wrong with them.
If someone is criticizing you, it's because they're simultaneously don't have the IQ to understand it and just don't appreciate truly
cutting edge
humor, or alternatively, stuff that speaks to just pure entertainment value. You see, if they're not entertained, they just don't like entertainment, right? That's the perfect comeback.
Yeah. Like what I find, I find interesting is that I can actually like almost all music, almost all types of music.
Except feminist wailing.
When it's good, except feminist wailing, when it's shitty. But so, I mean, like, I like some Shania Twain. I like some Dwight Yoakam. Do I like all country music? Do I like, what's his name? That freaking dude who changed his name and did like an album under a different name. What was his fucking name?
I don't know.
Anyway, I don't.
The country music star formerly known as insert name.
Well, he just decided he was gonna use a different name to release an album, and he was gonna wear a wig. He's bald, right? Wear a wig and a mustache, and and impersonate someone, and really weird stuff. But like I don't like him. But I do like some songs in pretty much every genre, including dubstep, right? Including dubstep. And, I have a very open mind when it comes to entertainment. But it has to be good. There has to be quality in there. Eminem, a lot of his songs I quite like, right? I can't stand him as a person, at least as a person with a political opinion. But that never stopped me from listening to Rage Against the Machine. So
I got a lot of thank yous to give when we're done with the
Yeah.
discussion of modern music.
Well, what I'm saying is that if it's
it's
good,
good,
it's good, and it might not be
your thing,
but you can tell it's good.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Like I can tell when a feminist argument is particularly good. You look at that and you're like, wow, that is a bunch of bullshit, but it's so well rendered. Gotta give you props, Anita. Like excellent con woman. You have to give her props for that.
Yeah, and you look at too at there are, like, as with all cons, there is the odd grain of truth in there, right? And so it's that, otherwise you wouldn't be able to con anyone with it. And so sometimes, and I always do this, I always find myself doing this. I see a feminist saying something that's actually logical and intelligent and shows that she has some knowledge of a particular slice of a topic, right? I'll be like, to be fair, she's right.
Feminists are usually right when they're describing women's internal experience. The problem is when they attribute it. Like when they start saying, "Well, that's men to blame."
When they start saying women's internal experience is the external reality.
Yes,
and that's not the case.
The personal, political. Oh God, good Lord! I mean, if they had just kept with, okay, let's get into a little drum circle and we'll just talk about the feminine experience and not ascribe blame or say, yes, this is now reality, it would have been a lot more beneficial. Like, it would have been a data point as opposed to...
Yeah, but they don't want to do that. And the reason they don't want to do that is because then they would have to admit all those things that James Damore said about women are true. Women are more neurotic. They're more prone to negative emotion. They have more apprehension and anxiety than men do. They're less emotionally stable, right? They fear walking at night more than men do, right? They don't want to admit that that's just a woman thing to feel that way, right? They have to basically say, no, I fear that because I am in objectively more danger than a man. That's where, because they don't want to admit. They don't want to admit
they're neurotic.
That they're weaker in some ways, right?
Yeah.
That they're weaker in these ways mentally. They're not as stoic, they're not as emotionally stable, they're not as emotionally tough, they're not as venturesome, they're not as socially in terms of extroversion and how they express their outgoingness rather than their introversion. They're much more dominant and wanting to, like, take charge of a room.
That's another thing that people don't realize. Like, men who take charge of rooms are not as common as women. They want that, and studies have shown this, that women are socially dominant. In a situation
women are allowed to be socially dominant.
They're allowed to be, and they're also they tend to want to be. In a situation where a conversation is unstructured, women dominate. In a situation where there is a goal that has to be achieved, men dominate. And they they never recognize this.
Well, here's the thing though, because if you have men together in a situation, in that first situation, right, the men will vie for dominance. They will try to be the person on top, holding forth at the table, right? That happens in exclusively male groups. I don't think that women want to be more dominant than men socially in a conversation around a table. I just think that they are allowed to, because men don't want to seem to be bullying women.
Well, I mean, then that's something that men must have always, and it's because it's sort of cross-cultural too. But I wanted to point something out. In my experience, men tend to let each other talk more, honestly. Like, it's more of a round table.
Well, they're not as insecure.
Yeah, okay, but anyway, this is a little bit of a side. Talking about feminine insecurity, I just want to say a little bit about this fundraiser. We were. This has been one of the slowest fundraisers, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, that's. I think it's just because we had that emergency cost at the beginning of the month. My laptop, and it probably people were just recovering from that and all that kind of stuff, and maybe it slipped people's minds, but it was pretty slow. And yesterday, or even this morning at 4 a.m. when I checked, because I was having a bout of insomnia because I was anxious about the fundraiser, we were at 1,300. And the night before this morning when I checked, my husband Jonathan was like, you really should just trust them, because your supporters always come through. Like, and I was just really anxious. You know how I say, oh, you guys, it's up to you guys. And that's an aspect of my anxiety around this issue, right? And yet my husband was like, but they always come through, like every month, so maybe you should just trust them. And I was really contending with that and thinking about that at 4 a.m. And it's like, yes, that's something that women struggle with. And it's not that I don't trust, it's that the fear is overwhelming. You know what I mean?
It's very much that you
and it takes an effort.
Yeah, the worry is more.
It takes an effort to just shut that down and say, no, I'm going to trust, and I'm going to let's just see what happens, because every month, even though we are at like the last hour, right? This is like the last night, the second to last night before the fundraiser is over, and I've never seen it be this slow. Okay, I need to trust. So I'm like, okay, I have a choice here. I can either be anxious or I can trust. And it's really difficult to make that choice, right? And I can see why women in a society that's constant, this constant drumbeat of fear, don't have the means. And honestly, it's not something that people can do for women. Women need to choose to start to trust again. But I can see why it's so difficult, because it's even difficult for me. Like, how many years have you guys done it? Now?
Yeah.
3? So, I mean, but it's still like that fear is still in many cases overwhelming. And so at 4 a.m., I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be able to sleep if I just sit here shivering and crying. So I'm going to just focus on trust. And it was hard. It took a while, but eventually I got back to sleep. And then I woke up and we are at $4,000 on the fundraiser. We went from $13,000 to $4,000. So I'm like, wow. Geez, thank you guys. That's I wish for me that I could sit with that trust more, because it feels like in some ways I'm letting people down by not trusting as much as I should. And I'm sorry for that. But thank you so much.
Don't be sorry for that. I mean, like, okay, women evolved as a dyad. They evolved as the mother-child dyad, right? So even though you're not a mother, you have it in you. That's why you have higher levels of neuroticism than the average man, right? That is just reality. But there's a reason for that. If you're a mother, especially if you're a mother in a cave, right, or in a teepee, or in some other rugged place where you're basically subsistence living, constantly under threat, you have to be kind of worrying all the time. Things have to bother you. And it's why when babies cry, it's the most annoying fucking sound in the world, right? Because it has to be.
And dogs and cats have managed to capture that sound somehow.
Yeah, and they have to be, because that's what motivates you, right? If you aren't motivated by love, you're at least motivated to shut the fucking noisy brat up.
Yeah.
Stick some food in its food hole or something.
But let me just, I know, I'm not going to beat myself up too much, but the idea that I'm letting someone down helps a lot when it comes to overcoming anxiety.
Yeah.
If you get out of your head and you say, well, is this fair? Like the supporters have come together every month for 3 years and made this happen. Is it fair? Is it fair to continue to be not trust? And I know this is like in my own head, and everybody has a right to feel what they feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, as if I don't want to feel it, then I found the best way to challenge it is to say, is this fair? Does it get out of my head and start thinking about, you know, and ultimately I did get to bed. So there you go. Success. Yay. And I woke up and the situation was significantly better. So thank you all. And I will do my thank yous now. It's got a lot of them. So bear with us. All right. So first I want to thank Deadly Do Right for $500. Thank you, Deadly Do Right.
All right.
I think I'm also missing someone who got in a bit late last night. Be Bad, Sad for $25.
Nice.
Raph and Stuff for 10.
Excellent.
And sorry, I just have to page the paging process, and this is all difficult. Okay, so Craig C for $25. Thank you, Craig C.
Excellent.
And Hunzi for $250. Thank you, Hunzi. I know how much that means because of what your everything that's happening. And no, I just wanted to give him a special thank you because I know that. How do I say this without being like? I just really appreciate it. All right.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
That's how you say it.
DGE, $10. Thank you, DGE. I don't want to say anything more because I don't want to, just in case that's... Fantas Dan for $500. Thank you, Fantas Dan.
I'm really rich.
Hyper Chicken for another $100. Thank you, Hyper Chicken. Vesa for $250. Thank you, Vesa.
Thank you. Come again.
Machine for $1,000, and this is in addition to the $500 he put for the laptop. So big thanks.
I noticed you don't have a good news, everyone.
That's a good one.
Yeah, or a Zoidberg noise. You gotta.
I do have a good news.
Good news, everyone.
There you go.
Okay, so and DJ T, that's just the first letters of your email. Don't want to say anything more. $50. Thank you, DJ T.
Erotic.
So I just want to point out that we went from 1,300 to 4,000 in just a space of a few hours, and I really freaking appreciate it because I was quite nervous last night. So thank you so much. I know this is difficult stuff. Like we're trying to sell people hardtack, basically, like stuff you can break your teeth on trying to eat. So I know that this is stuff that it's hard to stick with, and it's stuff hard to get your shoulder behind because it's very challenging. So I really appreciate how much you guys help us out, and I know that it is difficult stuff. So the fact that you keep with it, give yourselves a pat in the back. Keep with it and understand how important it is to do something difficult, because the easy path has gotten us here, and it doesn't matter what these alpha bros say. Not holding women to account is the cowardly option.
Yeah.
Holding them to account is the difficult path. But there's never been a successful society without some kind of external standard that women are held to. Like, there's never been a successful society without an external standard that men are held to.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's just that what happens when societies get modernized, get, easier and safer, is you remove the standards off of women and then impose them on men. Impose extra ones. Like, so
you impose all the fallout of taking those standards off women onto men.
Yeah, like when the Roman Empire, started giving women more rights and more freedoms and more choices and more economic autonomy and all of that, and they decided they weren't going to get married. Well, what did they do? They taxed bachelors. They bribed men. At first, they tried paying men with citizenship or something like that to marry women. And then when that didn't work, they just levied a tax on them. On unmarried men.
Mm-hmm. And now that men are no longer approaching women, we are blaming them for being afraid.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, I've been in a continuous argument on Twitter with women and this guy, Alexander Datesyke, who insists that, you know, if men are afraid of being rejected, you know, that's on them. You know, put yourself up by the bootstraps. I'm like, what a singularly unhelpful thing to say. First of all, in my estimation, it's actually pretty legitimate for men to be afraid of approaching women. First of all, it's just bog standard rejection is not fun. Just bog standard no is not a fun thing. And hearing it over and over and over again becomes
definitely not good for the self-esteem.
Yeah, it's not good for your self-esteem.
And then you're risking getting pepper sprayed.
Yeah, pepper sprayed, having security called on you, having a false accusation. That's the extreme stuff. You're also risking the woman laughing at you, harassing you, and abusing you, and spreading rumors with her friend group. You know, this is all stuff that men have brought up as responses to approaching a woman.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, this is nasty ass behavior. And women, of course, will say, but, you know, we didn't want him to approach. Well, if you don't want him to approach, don't complain when men stop. Like, and if you are a woman who's like, but I want men to approach, well, look at what other women are telling men. And not only that, it's not only the bog standard rejection, just a simple no is painful enough. All of the other stuff that men face, which is less likely to happen, but still does, the harassment, the abuse, the laughter, the potentially calling security, being pepper sprayed, or having a false accusation laid on them, you know, that's less likely. You know, that's less likely. But you have to realize that you're engaging in something that's frightening and unpleasant, that holds a negative possibility for you that's extremely bad, right?
Yeah.
And then we have also all of the feminist campaigns telling men that approaching women is harassment. Look at the Gillette ad. The guy did was just approach the woman to say hi, and the other guy's like, dude, no,
that is not okay.
That is not okay, bro. You know, because that's gonna harm her. So all of the feminist messaging around simple approaches being harmful to women. So you got the pro-social men being like, well, why would I do that? I'm going to be creating a uncomfortable environment for women.
Yeah,
so
I don't want to harass women. I don't want to like make them uncomfortable or scared. I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to put them out. I don't want
because they're told that's what's happening. And then we got these people who are like, well, why are you such a coward, bro? Man up, approach. I'm like, well, maybe the guys who are pro-social don't want to approach because they've been told that it's a horrible experience for women. And the other guys are just afraid of rejection. And people are like, well, how dare they be afraid? I'm like, well, why can't they be? Like, what position are you in to say that men shouldn't have the right to be afraid of rejection? You know, and to accommodate their behavior according to that fear. All right, maybe the false accusations are rare, but the normal bog standard rejection is still painful. And it's like they just blame and blame and blame. And I'm like, well, maybe the situation, women have a part to play in it, and they freak the fuck out because it requires. And there's this one woman who's just completely obsessed with this idea that men never blame women for any of this. It's never women's fault. You know, the men who are saying, well, I had this horrible experience where I approached a woman and she went back to her friend table and they were all pointing and laughing at me. Yeah. You know, that's just delusion, right? That's red pill influencers telling men that that's what's happening to them. Not just not even red pill influencers, because the alpha bros still say it's all your fault. But, you know, like it's not just people saying, oh, yeah, you know, that is something that happened, or other men talking to each other and saying, yeah, that happened to me, you know, and it's really awful. And then men saying, well, you know what? If I don't have the money and I don't have the looks, maybe I I'll just spare women my company. And then they get people blaming them for that too. It's like
Yeah.
stop blaming men. And yeah, maybe if we stop blaming men, a little bit of blame goes on women. Okay, are we gonna die? Are women just gonna cease to be?
Well, you know what I find really hilarious is, you know, like my daughter, she used to walk home from work, from the bus stop at like usually midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes she'd stop at this local pizza place, buy herself a couple slices of pizza to bring home with her. And she was in there, and she comes out one time, and these two guys are outside waiting for their pizza, having a smoke. And they're like, "Hey, good looking, right?" Or, "Hey, you're looking good tonight. You know, we're going to go to a party. You want to come along?" And she's like, "Oh, no thanks. I've got to get home. I have a whole bunch of things to do before I go to bed. But it was really nice of you to invite me, and it was really nice meeting you." And she shook both her hands, and off she goes, right? And it's like, that's how you deal with that situation, right?
There needs to be more autistic women in the world.
No, there is no more autistic woman in the world than my daughter. But
I'm saying there needs to be more of them.
Yeah,
like we need to invent the autism virus.
Yeah,
that is such. Yeah, keep going.
But it's like, if you are in any way worried about being assaulted by someone out at night at 1 o'clock in the morning, walking alone as a woman, right? What's the first thing you don't do? You don't laugh in the guy's face. You don't insult him. You don't say "as if," right? And all of that. If that's what you're actually worried about, that these guys might be thugs up to no good, right? You know, you treat them politely. You make your excuses. You say someone's expecting you at home any minute, right? And off you go.
Were they? How did they respond in response to her? Were they just stunned?
Yeah, she said she felt like she was half a block away before they even realized what had happened.
Yeah, that's a good way to neutralize it. You know, just be like, "Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it."
What the hell just happened there?
She said
no. So nice to meet you. Shake hands, right?
But no, I can't. I apologize.
Yeah.
And they didn't harass her after that rejection. Because the thing is that
they were just like, "Oh, okay, good night."
Women talk about how, if I say no, men get upset. Well, how are you saying it?
Yeah.
Like, honestly. And yes, I know there are some men who are just going to go ape shit. Although, to be fair, like when the guys who are really sexually aggressive, you know, and a woman gets offended and then she slaps him, that's when the violence starts.
Usually,
it's like if you are uncomfortable, and I mean really uncomfortable, so you have that instinct that somebody is, and not just okay, because there's this idea that women just don't understand physical boundaries. I think because they don't
can't differentiate between unattractive and genuinely creepy or like sinister.
Yeah, well, because a lot of genuinely creepy and sinister men are actually good looking.
Yeah, really good looking and charming.
Yes, and but the thing is that what I'm talking about is a physical boundary. Is that there is, when people are invading your physical boundaries in order to negate your ability to fight back. You know, you can feel that, you can know that's happening if you've taken not just self-defense, not women's self-defense, but like a proper wrestling,
like Kwando or mixed martial arts or something.
Yeah, or jiu-jitsu. You can tell when someone's doing that. And men who are truly predatory will determine whether or not you will submit to that or not recognize it's happening. And they won't be impolite or even crass. They'll simply just test you physically, silently. And if you give off a vibe of being somebody who will submit to it or doesn't even know it's happening, then they'll know that they can take you on, like with less fuss, shall we say.
Yeah.
So it's like guys who are predatory don't announce that.
No.
They just, wait until they get to a point where you can't fight back. And my overall point of this is, it'd be good if women could know the difference between that and just someone who's awkward.
Yeah, and it would be good if women actually learned to, and there is this thing, this feminist complaint that oh, I shouldn't have to tell him I have a boyfriend. I shouldn't have to lie to some stranger that I have a boyfriend to get him to leave me alone. It's like, well, because then I have to say that I'm owned by someone else, right? And it's like, no. Basically, if you have someone who's being very persistent because he thinks you're available, right? And if you tell him you're not available because you have a boyfriend, right? Then it's not one of those, it's not the no, I'm rejecting you. It's no, I'm rejecting everyone but my committed freaking boyfriend, right? It wouldn't matter if you were, the most gorgeous man in the world with lots of money. I have a boyfriend. I could be so attracted to you. I have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's just a polite way to getting out of the situation with reducing the hurt feelings.
Without him thinking she's rejecting me. No, she's rejecting hooking up with anybody because she has a boyfriend. That is what that does. It reduces the sting of that rejection, of the saying no thanks.
I want to zero in on one thing, because I think and just to conclude what I was saying about women need to learn when somebody is really violating their boundaries physically in a way that's genuinely predatory. And when they experience that, learn to get away from being isolated, get to around other people and around people who can help them. Like, go to security, go to the bar, get out of the nook, or
go back into the pizza place.
Yeah, go back into just get away from the guy. Don't slap him. Get away. Yeah. Shake his hand. Thank you for your attention. Boom, gone. like your daughter.
Oh yeah, no, that was masterful.
Yeah, it is masterful. And I would imagine that if your daughter was the entirety of the female population, men wouldn't have as much anxiety about approaching.
No.
And that's the funny thing. Like, you say that, women freak out when they feel like they're going to be blamed, and I do not understand this. Like, I'm talking to this woman, and I can tell that what she's really arguing about is she does not want women to be blamed. She also believes that women don't rape men, but that's another. But she does not want women to be blamed. This is the thing. She will blame men, which is hilarious. She's like, you can't blame women for this. It's men's fault for being cowardly. I'm like, yeah, but do you think just men just spontaneously became cowardly in the absence of any stimulus that actually is frightening? Like, but so she just really doesn't want women to be blamed. And I'm just curious, why am I so different? Like, I don't care. In fact, if anything, I enjoy it. And maybe that's just perverse, but it feels to me like if we recognize that women can create these really negative experiences for men, they can rape, they can harass, they can turn what could be just a simple rejection like your daughter into something horrible for a guy to experience. I mean, when we recognize that, at the same time as we recognize that, I look at that and I'm like, well, that's something I can avoid doing to become a better person.
Not only that, right? It basically tells you you're powerful and you're an adult. Right? You have an
influence.
You have an impact on other people, right? Including men, even though they're supposedly made out of stone, super cold, testosterone poisoning, all that stuff, right? You have the ability to hurt other people.
Yeah,
right?
men are made of stone, but they should show their emotions, except they should have no
emotions to show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay,
at least
keep going.
negative ones. Yeah, just a little bit more of your hair is like a river. I love you so much, but only if she agrees to it. I mean, like, here's the double bind that men are in. There was this one college campus, their harassment policy, right? Their sexual conduct policy, right? It said that you have to ask for and receive verbal permission for every escalation of a romantic or sexual encounter, including holding hands. Can I hold your hand? Can I kiss you? Right? Can I kiss you goodnight? Can I do this? Can I do that? Blah, blah, blah. Okay? But it said that asking somebody, even just once, to do something sexual, if they don't want to do it, that can be harassment.
And then we have these women on Twitter saying, why are men such cowards for not approaching? Like what? And also saying, well, there's nothing in the cultural landscape that could possibly have caused this situation with men, herpaderp. Like what was the last 20 years of fucking fever dream?
Yeah.
What ridiculous. But
I know it has been 20 years since that 2014 Dear Colleague letter.
Yeah.
Or almost 20 years. That was
almost
April
20 years, and all of the gates that happened.
Oh wait, 10 years. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that if we go back far enough, we saw the start of all of this. Not just no means no, but yes means yes kind of stuff.
Oh, and then yes doesn't always mean yes.
And there was this dude bro Alpha. There was this dude bro Alpha that was in this thread, and he's like, he's probably thinking I'm gonna school the incels, and he's like, this fear of rejection is stopping you. Women have are a positive, positive force in your life.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, well, thank you. I responded to him. Thank you. I'm so glad we're all interchangeable.
Yeah.
Because honestly, all women, just having a woman is no, I can point to many scenarios, Johnny Depp, where having a woman in your life is not a net positive.
Yeah.
And so I said, yeah, thank you for making us all interchangeable. And he comes back with beaking off of, blah, blah, blah. I don't get what you're saying. And I said, I'm almost feel like making this exchange with you as unpleasant as possible, just so you acknowledge that it's possible for a woman to be unpleasant.
Yeah.
Just you have just fucking infuriated me. And that kind of shit infuriates me. I would take incels blaming women 24/7 over one handsome dude bro saying, a woman is an important part of a man's life. Really? Always?
How about a good woman? Oh, well, we can't differentiate. We can't put standards on women. There's nothing that defines a good woman or separates a good woman from a bad woman, because there are no bad women. And it's
actually,
like,
go ahead. Yeah, I know, it's so infuriating. It's like, oh no, you popped out perfect from the factory settings. No need to be better.
Personal work, you don't need to, have been raised by decent parents.
You're exactly equivalent to what Lilly let be, because you were both the women.
Yeah, no, it's like you're basically, you were born perfect, and that's how you stayed, and you didn't have to do anything to earn your label, your good woman sticker, and it's just like, well, thanks. So is it any wonder that there's like a complete absence of meaning for women?
To women's life? Yeah, and honestly, even the most hardened, black pill incel saying something like, oh, women are whatever, subhuman or whatever, I prefer that, because at least it frees me. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, yeah, that's what you think. I'm gonna go over and do my own thing, Yeah. I don't know, I can't, it's really difficult to explain it, but I would rather be judged harshly as a woman, because that means I have to develop myself as a person, than get a blanket lukewarm puke of women are so wonderful, all of them. God, I would rather that, because it's freeing. It's like you just walk away from that,
Yeah.
And you just are like, well, okay.
Yeah.
If you think my womanhood makes me a horrible person, I'm not just a woman. I'm an individual, and I make individual choices. So I'll just lean more into that. But
Yeah,
the whole thing, like the greatest value that you bring to the world is you are a woman. Good God, fucking shut up.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, eh.
I've been talking over you.
I don't know, but I don't like the sort of the black pilled incels. You know, all women are shit.
No, I don't
and all
like
that
it.
stuff.
I'm just saying I prefer it.
Well, yeah, it's less obnoxious, right? Because it really is like that guy Body for Wife, right? You remember him? He was like this freaking feminist man who stays fit and keeps his abs up for his wife.
I think I remember him vaguely. I'm never really that good with people's names, though. You know?
Yeah, but he, it's just like, yeah, no, I have to earn her every day. Every day I have to earn her. And it's just like, well, what does she have to do? Nothing.
Yeah, just exist. And the funny thing is,
complain that you're not measuring up.
The funny thing is what do men like that think women's existence is? Like they just sit there and they don't have a mind? This is what's really frustrating. It's like you think that women just exist in the pure light of goodness and they don't even get bored or are like want to start shit just because?
Yeah.
You're putting them on a pedestal, and that has got to be the most boring fucking place to be.
I love.
Like I'm a human being. I've got things moving in my head constantly. I can't just be like, "Oh, you're so beautiful and wonderful because you are female." I'm like, well, where do I go from there? Like, do I just sit here with this forever?
Yeah. Okay. So if that's the case, because I'm female, why don't you get some other bitch so I can go and do something useful with my time?
Yeah, we're all interchangeable, huh?
Yeah.
Like one's as good as another. Jesus Christ. And they Brian has not been talking at all, so
yeah, I'm gonna let you guys because my dog, her bladder is like
okay, you gotta go let the dog relieve herself.
Yeah, so I'll be back in a moment here.
We went on a very long tangent, Brian.
I mean, what are you talking about? It's only been 45 minutes.
Sorry.
So, are we doing the video or?
Yeah, I guess so. Should we wait for Karen to come back?
For Karen to come back, yeah.
Well, do you have any commentary about any of this?
Nope, I wasn't even listening. I'm looking into some other stuff while you guys were doing that. I was researching.
What were you looking into?
I'm researching VTubers tools to see how they've come along. I was thinking about. I'm talking to someone about helping me with a really good Badger Chan animation. He's been working with AI and stuff, and I thought, if I could create a couple of really cool Badger Chan animations when people give super chows, then make the streams more fun, engaging. And I'm also looking at VTubers too, because that would also be really cool. I bet that you can even. There's probably a way that if I had a VTuber, that it would also alter my voice to sound different, but I'm not really sure. I'm just while you guys are talking about that, I'm just
you're researching practical stuff and interesting new things to be. No, it's fine. It's understandable. It's right there. Mm-hmm. Gender divide, You're looking at future goals, and we're talking about whatever weird tangent we're on. But as soon as Karen comes back, we'll get the. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure how long. Maybe we should do just a little bit.
I mean, whatever. Do we not need to do this anymore? Is that what you're saying?
No, we can still do it. It's just that it's a lot of bullshit. Does she ever get to something interesting?
I didn't watch the whole thing. It's Lilly Singh. I don't know, your definition of interesting, it seems impossible. I mean, she's only going to talk about herself for 20 minutes, and that's not interesting. So.
Well, I mean, we just talked about ourselves for 45, eh?
Yeah, that's true. Well, no, I mean, I guess so. I don't know. I think you were talking about experiences you had and sort of. No, I mean, Lilly Singh is literally talking about herself for 20 minutes. This is a TED talk about herself, and people watched it, and they sat there for 20 minutes while she talked about herself, and nobody thought that was messed up.
That is a really good point. Well, I do have a thank you. Maybe I can do some things while we're waiting. All right. So, Health Potion Addict has just put through $100, which I think is like $300 for this particular fundraiser total. So thank you, Health Potion Addict.
Yeah. Good.
Okay,
and you didn't hear that one. Hold on.
So fetch. What is fetch? Oh, it's like slang from England.
All right. So if you would like to join our finish this off, because we are now
All right.
Have about $690 left. Thank you all so much for helping me out, helping us all out. Me, but all of us as well. Yeah. So we have $690 left. We do have only one day left to do it. But you know, I'm fairly confident that you guys will finish this off. We'll do another home run. So if you would like to help and finish this up, it's feedthebadger.com/support. And if you want to send us a message, if you have any opinion on everything that we've blathered in the last 45 minutes, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. It's very much appreciated. We'll read it on air. We'll discuss it. If you have any commentary on what me and Karen, if you are somebody who can explain why we're so weird.
I don't think anybody can explain that. Even my mother can. So
feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And yeah, we get the full benefit of the funds, and you get the full benefit of avoiding YouTube's censorship dartboard. Okay.
All right.
Let us watch. I'm gonna make sure I'm in there.
Some more of this. Yeah, get in there. We're gonna watch more of this. So
yay!
Yep. Super exciting.
A list I'd previously been on. I remember wanting to start a critical conversation because I saw this article and I was heartbroken. You know, the digital space had always been a place that I thought was without gatekeepers, and here it was looking just like old Hollywood.
What are you talking about, lady?
Yeah, Hollywood. If you guys don't know how much Hollywood excludes marginalized people, they hate those people.
Oh no, but
totally. Old. Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
Old Hollywood. Old Hollywood would be like Bogart and Bacall and Marilyn Monroe and and
that woman who won an Oscar for her work on Gone with the Wind, the black lady.
Yeah, but also, okay, but well, I mean, if you're having a freaking thing in, sort of in the Deep South during, the Civil War or whatever, you got to have some black people in there. But essentially, what she's saying is, it was all sexist and it was all racist in old Hollywood. And, I'll agree that, okay, it was probably really, really a lot of white people in the movies. And, but it was overwhelmingly really, really a lot of beautiful people as well. And really, really a lot of women.
Yeah, well, there were a lot of white people in America at the time. We had Hawaii wasn't even a state yet. I don't care that the demographic that's like going to Bollywood and complaining that there's too many Indians. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious. It is. It's or going to Uganda where they made the great classic film Who Killed Captain Alex, and saying, wow, there's so many Africans in this industry. Why are there so many Africans? Just stop. I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for these complaints.
The only societies that are expected to be diverse and to have
are white,
representation are the white ones.
Yeah, well, the Western white ones. Yeah.
America isn't really a white society, though. I want to point that out.
No, but the ones that are majority white.
Yeah, the ones that have been historically majority white are the only ones that get criticized. Nobody goes to the Hong Kong the Hong Kong movies and say, why are all these Chinese people in this? And when they do, and when the Chinese films do cast a white guy, everyone complains about white saviors. So you can't even have like a fucking token. So I'm sorry, I'm done with this. I don't care.
It is ridiculous.
I don't care. It's stupid. It's just people have to like, just say, look, you're full of shit. Like there's a lot of white people in these movies because there's a lot of white people in this country. It's just the same for any other.
Also, I don't think
space.
she's talking about white. I think she's talking about men.
Well, I think it's mostly men,
both.
yes, but like
Yes,
it's easy. It's easy to like hitch, like whiteness and straightness to that, but you have to have men to point to get people looking that way to begin with, right? It starts with men.
Straight white
Yes.
men. Anyway.
Yeah, straight white men, but
Okay.
even like gay white men, because I mean, a lot of Hollywood is pretty gay.
Well,
but if they're
Gay men are the white men of
LGBTQ
men.
people,
And,
Of men, yeah.
and
of the
black men are the
LGBT.
white men of black people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And trans women are the straight het cis men of the gender fluid community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always basically just men. But in this case, I think it's literally just men. She's saying that women are no longer in the top whatever of the YouTube. Well, okay. First of all, the YouTube, you can complain at two things: the audience of YouTube and the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the two things that result in who gets shown.
Yeah.
Well, and the YouTube algorithm is pretty kind to minorities and to women.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
At least minorities and women who say what YouTube likes. Who talk
Yeah.
about things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and she'd be like right up their alley.
Well,
and so if she's not,
her channels was massive. I mean, I
They're-
don't know if
they're giving her like a boost in terms of her reach, probably.
Mhm.
And if she's underperforming, then that's on her. I'm sorry.
Well, is she underperforming, for God's sake? Like, I mean, she's not in the top, but she's
Well-
certainly doing better than I am.
Well, she should be in the top.
Yeah,
top,
but
top, top.
again, she's doing exactly what most feminists do. She's looking at PewDiePie and saying, why does he have more subs than me? Instead of looking at
Maybe
all of the
entertaining.
men
Yeah.
that she has way more subs than. You know what
Because
I mean?
he's entertaining. People don't want to listen to you whine.
Well, sometimes you just get lucky. Maybe there are guys that
Yeah.
are more talented and entertaining than PewDiePie, but they're small. It is what it is. Like,
Yeah, sometimes
know?
it's just timing and luck and
sometimes
you know.
it's just luck and time. Exactly. I used to work in the theater, and there were plenty of people that worked in theater that did plays and musicals that were far more talented than most people in Hollywood, but they're not famous. So, is it a crime? No, but it's a shame. Like, people are missing out on some people who, they can play, they can sing, they can dance. They're usually triple threats, right? They can sing, they can dance, they can play music, they can act, they can do all of it. And I'm sorry, but they're not whoever the hot person is. They're not Jennifer Lawrence or Jenna Ortega, because she was just
Brad
chosen,
Pitt.
or
Yeah.
Brad, or whatever the female, Timothy Chalamet or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that
whatever woman sucked off. What's his name?
Exactly, or whatever woman touched Harvey Weinstein's member.
Schmeckle.
Yeah, whatever it is. But that's that. Like I said, we can't correct for every inequity, but you just seem overly concerned with the fact that it's like you can't look at what you have and just
Be happy.
Count your blessings. I mean, that's all this is. It just seems like it's just resentment for no reason.
Yeah. And did
So-
she even deserve the 7 million
Probably not.
subscribers that she?
I mean,
Probably
she's
not.
Yeah, she's not that funny.
You're
or entertaining.
probably a mediocre performer. Like,
Yeah.
you're probably a mediocre entertainer, and you probably got a lot of benefit from the algorithm.
Well, I
Yep.
think
And,
I like it. I like it when PewDiePie does the occasional video where he's talking about a serious topic, right? And he has talked about things like social justice and stuff like that in the past, right? And I quite like that. But there are times, when I get so exhausted from consuming gender political, public health political, and just general political material, right? And just looking forward, just shading my eyes and seeing that cliff getting closer and closer and closer, right? that I just go watch videos on the Dodo channel. The Dodo channel is like, oh, I rescued an animal, or oh, there's this squirrel in my backyard. And
Lindsay watches
friends.
that channel sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, there's this. I caught a puppy and I have a tortoise in my backyard, and the puppy and the tortoise are besties. You know, and it's like, it's so cute. It's like, or sometimes I watch weird videos from Indian dermatologists. Maybe she should get into this as an Indian woman, where they squeeze blackheads.
Oh, I've heard about that, but no thanks.
Or clean earwax.
What about
or drain boils.
Chubby Emu is like very popular. He does like these medical stories of like people who come in that present to the emergency room with some kind of condition, and he goes through all of the, you know, explaining like what happened to them. Like, you know, there was some guy, I don't know, like let's say a guy eats you know, a certain amount of bread or something, and he ends up in the hospital, or somebody does like a challenge online and they get sick, and then he'll like go through the whole thing. Or like these true crime things. You know, there's lots of stuff that's popular. You don't know what's gonna.
Every once in a while I want to look at, you know, sort of Gobekli Tepe. You know, here's the secret of Gobekli Tepe. You know, and this is you know, these megaliths.
I like to go back to Tepe stuff. Yeah. All of like the prehistory.
Yeah, and so it's like I'm totally up for any of that kind of stuff, right? It's not my area of expertise. It's not my field of intense interest.
Sure.
But watching Taki's shelter videos where he goes and he rescues these stray dogs and he brings them to his house that has like 400 freaking dogs and 100 cats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and he's like, bravo, bella. You know, and because he's in Greece, right? But you know, like these are heartwarming videos. Sometimes I sit there and I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna cry and have a nice emotional purging of all my stress chemicals. You know?
And all I see here is a narcissist, a smug narcissist who does not understand the nature of gratitude. She has a supportive family, a grandfather who admitted to her he was wrong about her possibilities of success in her YouTube career. She's a megastar on YouTube, but she ain't part of the top 10.
The top three. The top three.
What an ungrateful human being.
Yep.
It's not enough, huh?
Yep.
And she has to throw an entire culture, well, all the men in the world under the bus because she isn't PewDiePie. Yeah. What a selfish.
She had a spot on Epic Rap Battles of History. Like that, you know, that's a humongous channel as far as I remember. Really famous people went on there, like Key and Peele have been on there, and Weird Al Yankovic was on there.
Yeah, I used to watch that with my youngest.
Yeah.
And my youngest was the one who introduced me to Rucka Rucka.
Rucka Ali. Yeah, I met him at VidCon in 2017.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was. I feel a little bit. He was like, "You know who I am?" I was like, "No, I'm sorry." But I mean, later. I mean, like, sorry, Rucka Rucka. I didn't mean to insult you. I honestly didn't know. But your work is good. If you're watching, which I doubt you are, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, he was at an after party in like I met him in the elevator in, where was it, Milwaukee, I think.
MythCon? Was he at MythCon?
No, was it at the first Minds in Real Life or the second one?
IRL, okay.
Yeah, but was he in the one in Boston or the one in Milwaukee? I forget, but but yeah, no, I was like, oh, you're him. My son loves you. He's like 14, 15, right? And yeah, no, but it's like, you like, there's so many different things, and the competition for eyes on YouTube is extremely intense, and you have to be constantly uploading if you want to be one of these giant channels like PewDiePie or Markiplier or whatever, right? You just have to be.
She was a flash in the pan. She got her 7 million. I mean, not really a flash in the pan, like she should feel in
Bad.
any way like she was
Like a
hard done by.
failure. Like a failure, or like.
Well, she doesn't
didn't
feel like
get-
a failure. She feels the world failed her.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean,
I'll be quiet.
she,
Sorry, talking to
your
my dog.
popularity is waning, and acting like a self-righteous, narcissistic tool will probably increase that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's.
I don't think I would want to be in her audience, even if she was funny. After
let's
listening
keep
to
going.
this.
Let's keep going.
All right, we'll play some more.
But let me tell you, the internet was not interested.
Yeah,
I don't know how it's possible, but it literally felt as if Twitter leaped through my screen and body slammed me onto my desk. Yeah, the message was clear.
Twitter.
You can be on this list, but don't try to start any conversations about the inequality on this list.
Two things create the list: the YouTube algorithm and the audience. Unless you want to force people to watch your shit. Well, I guess the point is that she wants more control over the YouTube algorithm.
She wants to be
except
able
for
to
the-
create her audience instead of like try to attract an audience.
Well, except for the fact that the algorithm is probably already boosting her because she's a brown woman of LG alphabet soup
Yep.
variety.
She's checking all the boxes and she's still not interesting. How about that?
Yeah.
It's almost like you need more than just to be like
You know
the
what I
appropriate
think?
box checker.
I think she needs to be Biden's new running mate in 2024.
Oh my god. By the way, did you hear who is announced their candidacy to run for president?
Jank.
Jank! Yes! Jank Uger. He's gonna run.
Yeah. He says
Of course!
Of course, he says it's not because he wants to win. He says it's because he wants to rattle the DNC into picking someone other than Joe Biden.
I guess their plant, that's AOC, just wasn't doing enough damage for them. So he's like Thanos, I gotta, fine, I'll do it myself. I'm looking forward to 2024. It's gonna be a crazy, crazy year.
Well,
But
technically, I'm not allowed to donate to U.S. presidential candidates, but I should send him that ham sandwich.
Send it. Yeah, I was gonna say, send him the ham sandwich. Make sure that, set it up to where it arrives as he's doing the debate. I'm sure that those carbs will not at all make that scene even funnier. Maybe while he's debating Chris Christie, then we can see it's.
See which one of them is.
Yeah, which one of them wants it
faster at guzzling bacon grease?
Okay. Let's play some more.
I have thousands and thousands of videos. One of my most disliked videos is why I'm not in a relationship.
Yeah, because nobody wants to.
A lot of the
fucking
men
know
at the
that.
table did not like me telling them why I didn't.
It says, let me read some of these comments. They're probably based. You're not in a relationship because you're a 30-year-old acting like a 16-year-old. I think it's because she's full of herself. Because her parents will choose a relationship for her and force her to marry the guy. Narcissists don't have relationships. They feed. Who would want you?
Oh my god. I bet some of these are not men.
You know what? We don't know. But she is saying that they're men. So she's claiming it. But how can you ever know, really?
Like she needs a real man.
Oh
Need a
no,
boyfriend.
no, a real man should not go anywhere. Oh, by the way, how is this? Like, they can dislike you personally, and
Yeah,
not
they're allowed
dislike
to.
all women.
Yep.
No, like, there's no indication here that this is sexist. They just don't like you.
Well, there's
Yeah.
a little bit of the cultural prejudice, right? With your parents will choose one for you,
Well, that
whatever.
one, yeah. But maybe they're just making a joke at your expense. I mean,
Yeah.
what would she say to him? Like, y'all don't know how to season y'all food or something? I mean, we wouldn't find that offensive, so...
It's true, though. Honestly, it's true.
What is?
Northern
Orange.
Europeans don't know how to fuck to season food. Okay, I
That's
said
not,
it.
I don't know about that.
No, I have eaten plenty of Northern European food.
Mm-hmm.
Spice is just not a thing.
Well,
Um,
go ahead,
the-
Karen. Karen knows
yeah,
how
well,
to cook.
Okay, yeah, I do know how to cook, but that's because all of the traditional dishes in Northern Europe were reliant on salt and black pepper because Northern Europe was so far from the spice roads, right? So you have
also-
Italy and Spain and all of those places.
Also,
buying
sweating
up-
in cold climates is not good. Like,
True.
like it's a simple physiological thing. If
Yeah.
you eat hot food and you sweat in clothing that's intended to keep you warm, it will cease to keep you warm.
Yeah.
So that's why the food is heavily fat and carbs and more fat and carbs. It's to keep people warm.
That may be true of Northern Europe, but white people also includes Italy, France,
You know, I'm
Spain,
excluding them because they can cook.
Greece. Yes. And I don't know what they eat in Iceland, but like those other places. Maybe Germany. I went to a German restaurant. It was okay.
Oh yeah, they're good. They're really good.
Yeah. So
Germans
I mean,
really can cook. I'll give it that.
yeah.
They don't cook with a lot of spice though, but what they do well.
I think basically we're just talking about the English. But
Yeah,
anyway,
let's just come out with it.
The Danes are not.
I
The
thought
Danes
that
are not
joke
bad.
was
Yeah, the
hilarious
Danes, yeah.
personally.
What?
Like the one Indian dude was giving the British some throwing some shade and said, yeah, the Britain conquered the world for its spices and then never used them.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
I also found something else funny. Like, I'll do a shout out. I did this one tweet where I said blaming men is going to end our civilization.
What is?
Blaming men.
Blaming men.
Oh yeah, sure.
And some feminist came on and she had this gif of Danny DeVito in some kind of cutesy shirt walking away from an explosion. It's like, this is me after, you know, I actually found that funny. I said, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
You know, I'll give you props, you feminists, when you can be funny. That was funny.
Every once in a while.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Sorry, Brian.
I quickly learned that there's an invisible gatekeeper called culture, and the table is
good
smack
Lord.
dab in the middle of it.
They just don't.
Now, in 2019, I made history with my late night show, A Little Late with Lilly Singh. Thank you.
I never even heard
Thank
of
you.
this. How did you make history? Was it like ratings or something?
No, first woman of color, queer woman of color, first ever. It was
First
time,
queer Indian woman.
yeah, to host a
'Cause
late night show.
Yeah. And she opened up with, "Hey, I'm queer and I'm Indian and I'm a woman and applaud,
Mm-hmm.
clap, you bastards."
Holy shit! Audience rating?
Yeah.
Oh my holy god!
Yeah.
Oh my! You should. Oh.
Yeah, no, I was paying attention when all this was going down because I watch a lot of different
Late night?
channels that do reaction videos to certain things and you know, articles and stuff like that, right? That generally they're about 8 to 10 minutes long, right? And so the implosion of this show, this historic show, was like it was literally. Oh god, I can understand why she's butthurt.
So beautiful. They should have sent a poet.
It wasn't good. All it was her blaming men for.
Oh, it's got
like, whatever.
82% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well,
And
from the critics.
26%, yeah, from the critics, 26% from the audience.
Well,
Yeah.
those critics don't want to lose their jobs. I mean,
Is the audience culture or the critics culture, Lily?
the
Well,
audience?
actually, the audience is the culture. The critics are the ones who are trying to shape the culture.
Yeah.
That's why the scores.
Why didn't they respond?
So much.
She thinks it's just like rednecks in trailer parks that watch her and don't like her, which is like just absolutely the opposite of reality. Like, it's not good content.
This lasted for 1 year.
I can't even see
'Cause it sucked.
Joy Behar or Bette Midler enjoying her show.
No, it's just not
Like-
good.
Midler could be funny.
These
That Midler could be funny.
East and West Coast liberals, right? I can't see them even enjoying what
Mhm.
because it, you know, like I can watch left wing comedy, right? Like I can watch
That's most
Jon
comedy.
Stewart,
Yeah.
Jon Stewart, right? And find him funny, right? even when he's saying something that I think is complete bullshit, he can actually deliver it in a funny way. And so it's like, yeah, no, she just isn't funny. She's just not funny.
Okay, so can you give us in broad strokes the rise and fall of
Oh, I think
Lilly?
it lasted 2 weeks or something like that.
Well, I think
the
it was,
show.
wasn't it 2 years?
No.
It says, no, okay. So they're lying about that.
Let's. Well, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't following
It
the escapades.
it did not last long, and
I love how
it was canceled due to low ratings.
this woman got a shot. She got a shot at,
Well, and she actually
screwed it, and then everybody else is to blame.
Yep.
Oh, she not only did she screw it, okay, because one of the things that she did was she demanded 100% say over what writers to hire, okay, and then she hired all minority writers. All of them were LGBTQ, all of them were people of color, all of them were, some form of minority. And, women, because women, the majority of the population, are somehow a minority. But so those were the people she hired to be her writers, and she insisted on complete say, 100% say over who would be hired to write the show. And the show fucking stunk. It bombed. So, I mean, this was a single-handed, unforced error, right? She could have let the studio, right, the production company, she could have let them hire the writers. She could have allowed the network to hire the writers. She could have hired a consultant to hire the writers, right? Someone who's like a casting director to hire the writers or whatever, like a talent finder, right, to hire the writers. No, she interviewed them all. She made sure they were all minorities, and she made sure that they were all had the proper politics. And it just turned out that they couldn't write anything funny, let alone her deliver it properly.
I'm looking at these reviews. All of the reviews that are 1 star are massively upvoted. All of the reviews that are like 5 star don't get much attention at all. I'm just looking through here. Just looking at the upvotes, because that really tells you something.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody astroturfed positive reviews, but you can't fake the upvotes. Well, I mean, you can, but they don't usually think to. Yeah, so all the negative reviews are massively upvoted. Man, this really bombed. The audience.
Yeah,
did
no,
not
it
believe
went down like the Hindenburg.
Okay, this is an actual woman minority. Anitha Reddy. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Lilly comes off as very self-absorbed. She's supposed to be this representation of minorities on network television, but she adds next to nothing to the debate. In most cases, even manages to turn white and male audience members against her by going off on a stereotypical racist rant on them. Even assuming her target audience are brown women, she still sounds like a broken record preaching for more representation without talking about the reasons why racism exists in the first place. Wow, so even the people who buy into this narrative are just rejected her.
Mm-hmm.
Her ideals make no sense, as she often contradicts herself by being stupidly racist to white people and men, while sexist to men. She has no caliber of exploring any social issue in depth. She doesn't talk about politics. She's not a comedian. Her jokes neither reflect intellect nor charisma. Her show is just a failed leftist attempt at making any point because that's all her observations are too surface level and one-sided. She maybe can do some lame game show for children if she wants to be on TV. Woo!
Yeah, she needs to be on Popcorn Playhouse.
Thank you, Anvitha.
Or, just get another job. UPS is hiring.
Yeah.
What?
Here's a good job for you. Why don't you empty trash cans?
No, why would you do that?
Start working on that representation there.
Yeah, there we go.
Lilly?
Not a lot of Indian women doing sanitation work, so there you go. You'll make history.
Or how about? Well, I mean, suppose they are maids in hotels, but that's not sanitation work.
No, I mean
Well,
working in.
it
I
really
mean working
depends.
in sewers.
It really depends on the
Yeah.
room.
It depends
Yeah.
on the hotel. Yeah, that's true.
Right, sure.
Fair enough. I've been called out. Yeah, but but it still is in an air-conditioned environment in which you're not wading through shit, or picking up heavy amounts of garbage.
Or scraping shit-covered used condoms and tampons off of a sewage treatment plant's intake grate.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't you improve that representation, Lily?
Yeah.
Because that actually improving that representation would actually go a lot further to getting rid of the quote unquote patriarchy than improving the representation in all of the jobs that are made possible by the men working in utilities like yours.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
All
I mean,
right,
if you
well,
really
I
wanted
got-
to smash the patriarchy, you don't start with the top. Start with the bottom.
Yep.
I got a super chow. I'm gonna read it from Richard Bier.
And his name is John C.
And he gives us $5 and says, Lily was funny or at least entertaining until she came out as full social justice. Then every episode became a lecture to the audience, like when Ellen Degenerate is how he wrote it, had her entertaining sitcom until she came out as Rainbow Alphabet, and from that point on, she had to mention it at least once each episode. By the way, Cenk is ineligible to run for president as he is not a natural-born citizen of the United States. Spices were also often used as a means of preserving food or possibly covering up spoiler. Wow, there's a lot of information in there. Thank you.
Well, spices were meant as a way of preserving food.
Yeah,
Northern Europeans didn't necessarily need that because it's fucking the ground is frozen over, particularly through since the Pleistocene through the Renaissance. The ground was like there was snow on the ground. It was sub freezing temperatures. Like the world was your freezer. You didn't need to preserve food, right? For 6 months a year. So, and you preserved your meat during the warmer months. You preserved your meat as a living animal until you needed to eat it, right? And then you just salted what you didn't eat before it went bad. And that's how you did things. But it's like like these hot climes where they eat lots of very spicy, very hot spices and stuff like that. Yeah, it is to kill bacteria. It is to preserve food, right? And it is to cover up the taste of not quite so perfectly preserved food, right? Okay, and all of that. But that just was not top priority in a place where, I mean, the Inuit, you know what they do? And they were still doing this 20 years ago, right? Maybe still, right? They go out and hunt, and they just kill anything, like seagulls and cormorants and seals and walruses and whatever, right? And they just drag it all into the middle of town and pile it all up, and it freezes, and then they just pick off of the pile over the winter. So it's like, you don't need to preserve your food when you live in a freezer.
Yeah.
It's just not necessary.
Right.
Okay. Let's get a bit more in. I know nobody really
Sure.
wants to watch this person because she's not even trying to be entertaining. She's just whining.
Well,
you got your opportunity.
She thinks
Play in the
she's
big
pretty
leagues,
entertaining.
really,
Yeah.
and you fucked up because of you.
Yeah.
Period.
And she literally did demand full creative control.
Yeah.
So this was not her producer's fault. This was not the studio's fault. This was not the network's fault. This was nobody's fault but hers that it bombed.
Okay, I'm actually trying to do something related to entertainment. I'm trying to write a book, right? And the audacity of a creative going and saying it's not my fault, it's the audience's fault. And saying, well, basically saying, oh, I'm not going to take any criticism because any kind of criticism is insert ism, and I can disregard it. Well, no wonder you don't have an audience. Like, or you're losing your audience. When you're a creative, as difficult as it is, you have to accept criticism, otherwise you don't improve. And it is painful. Let me tell you, I know how painful it is. And it's so much easier to take your cowardly ass and pretend the criticism is something illegitimate than it is to actually listen to it and incorporate it into what you're doing. Yeah. And yeah, I get it, because I know how painful criticism is, and I know how easy it is to escape into a space where the criticism is illegitimate. And I have done so. And I have to force myself not to. Which can get very difficult when you try to figure out what criticism is legitimate and what criticism isn't, without getting into the headspace of dismissing all criticism or accepting all criticism. You know, and yeah, that in of itself is a difficult skill to master. You haven't chosen that path now, have you? You've chosen the path of complete narcissism. All criticism is illegitimate. All criticism of Lilly is illegitimate. You have chosen to become an afterthought. You have chosen to fade from the public eye. Because people are not going to tolerate that from their entertainers. You're there to do a job for others. If you can't do the fucking job, get off the stage. Don't whine about it being racist or sexist that people are criticizing you for not being able to do your job. This is the funny thing about entertainers. They think that because they have such high status and such high amount of attention, that they're not doing a job for others. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They think that there's some kind of untouchable guru. I mean, you know, maybe if they have done the work to examine themselves, you know, meditated and worked on all those rough edges, they could consider themselves a guru, but not because they're an entertainer. An entertainer does a specific job. And if you're not doing the job if you are entertaining, the audience will find you.
Yep.
You may not be huge, and often if it's not huge, it's very loyal.
Yeah.
But if you focus on being good, you'll find your audience.
Mm-hmm.
If you focus on perfecting your craft, you'll find your audience. You focus on working at it like you are doing a job for others, like you are serving others, that you want to see the smiles on people's faces, right? You will find an audience. Is that really your motive here, Lily? Or is your motive entirely egotistical?
To stick it to Grandpa.
Yeah, well, not even, and I feel more for Grandpa here. Because he seems reasonable. He's like, yeah, I made a mistake. You know, I think that you've done a great job.
Yeah, like the Amazing Atheist parents were like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you quit high school to start a YouTube channel? What, like, are you out of your freaking mind? Right? And then he made something of himself. And it's like, you know, as much as I don't like him now, you know, he made something of himself. And it's like, I'm sure that his parents are like, you know, we're really proud of you, son. Like, you actually did it.
You actually did it. So, I mean, all of this is just, you can see her self-sabotage on this stage.
Oh, yeah, no. And what's really hilarious is the pressure on her as an Indian with, you know, parents and grandparents who were born in India. The pressure on her to do something normal. Be a doctor, be an engineer, be a computer scientist, be a technician, be a PLC tech, be a med lab scientist, you know, be a nurse, be some sort of profession that comes with its own status that you don't have to be famous at. You get status just automatically, right? And you get money just automatically. You know, there's tons of them around. There's tons of job opportunities. It doesn't take a gamble. It's not gambling, right? When you do a YouTube channel, right? Or you do a career in entertainment, when you want to be a stand-up comedian, when you want to be in a band, be a musician, all of those things, right? Those all are huge gambles. They're massive gambles, right? And Indian and Asian, South and East Asian parents, they don't want their children to take those gambles. They're like, no, you don't work in a factory, right? Because that's where I had to work, right? You go, you get a degree, you get your professional credentials, and then you go make money, and you'll have status, right? It's like that's how they look at it. So it's like what she's was dealing with her grandfather, in terms of wanting to have a career as an entertainer on YouTube, right? That's no different. They would have called their grandson a complete freaking moron for trying something like that.
In fact, they probably would be
maybe
worse.
disowned him.
They would probably be worse for a boy. Like if you think about it, because we're depending on your income in our old age. So you better go do something solid, not this wishy-washy, frou-frou-y YouTube gamble. And here, let's just take a moment to appreciate the fact that Lilly probably didn't do anything to help the STEM ratio of women. Because let's face it, she's an Indian woman. Indian families would probably be pushing her into STEM. Like, so now that she's an entertainer, she's not helping that ratio in STEM there.
Nope, she's not.
But she could now.
Yeah, no.
Now that she's on the downswing.
Well, she needs to learn to code. Is what she needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is it considered racist to say that Indian families seem to really push STEM on their daughters?
On their daughters and sons.
And sons? Because that's what I've observed.
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely 100%, and part of it is because they're developing countries, right? I mean, it's like, okay, they're about where our culture, at least in terms of this one thing, right? Where our culture was, in the 70s and 80s, okay? Where it was like, if you had any amount of intelligence in high school, if you were a bright student, had good marks, smart, competent, all of that stuff, nobody, not the guidance counselor, not the principal, not your parents, would ever even think of recommending you go into a skilled trade. Right? Not even a skilled trade, let alone just work pushing a press, hydraulic press at the Royal Canadian Mint for, good pay. I think it was back in the 1980s, it was like $25 an hour. And you didn't need any education or anything for it, right? They just train you for a week and then you're just like printing out coins, right? So it's like pressing out coins. So you're basically, they didn't want you to work in a factory. They didn't want you to work in a trade. They didn't want you to work with your hands. That's not what your parents wanted for you. That's not what anybody wanted for you. Working with your hands or your back, that's for the dummies. Okay? And because this was the big kind of expansion of the tertiary economy and the, white collar work and all of that, it was this big, huge blossoming of opportunities there. If you could go to university, you were expected to go to university. My parents expected it of me. My school never gave me any other post-secondary options. Never said, well, maybe you could be a mechanic like your dad. My dad never said, maybe you could be a mechanic like me. No, they were like, you need to go be a lawyer or a doctor. One or the other. Because you have the talent to do that. And I was just like, yeah, I just hate school and I don't want to do that for a living. Well, maybe be a teacher instead. Yeah, I don't want to do that either. Like, what? You want me to go to school for 4 years or 8 years or 12 years, right? Sucking off the taxpayer dime and your wallets, right? Just to have a backup plan in case my career in waitressing falls through. Like, no. And then when they finally accepted that I wasn't going to do it, they were like, well, okay, so you cook and, you've worked your way up in that kitchen, you're third in command in this high 5-star hotel, right? And, okay, so why don't you go to culinary school? And I'd be like, why the fuck would I want to go to culinary school when I can get up to be the under sous chef, right? The chef, the sous chef, me, right? Just by having a high school diploma and knowing what the fuck I'm doing. Why do I got to go to culinary school? This is something you can learn on the job.
Yeah, there's a little bit too much emphasis on education.
Credentialing. I'm like, Jesus Christ, why would I do that? It's just a waste of money. And, and frankly, the only thing that it would get me is a position as chef or sous chef. And I don't want that because every chef and sous chef I know is some freaking alcoholic, neurotic, depressed dude, right? Who works 16 hours a day and has ulcers.
Yeah.
Don't want it.
Okay. I just want to point out that we are still doing our monthly fundraiser. We still have like $690 left and a day left to do it. So please go to feedthebadger.com/support and let's get that finished. And we have a super chow. So we might want to read that, or do we want to do just a bit more?
I could read it.
Okay.
All right. It's another one from Richard Bier, $5.
And his name is John C.
And he says, being untouchable in India usually means that you will be cleaning latrines. Also, what does the action look like that Lily, hearing her grandfather admit he was wrong, led her to having an orgasm on the spot and then remembering that occasion is something she faps to on a regular basis?
What?
Whoa.
I'm just reading what it says.
You know what? Maybe a metaphorical one. Like it does seem like she's really enjoying it, but
like when you take a bite of a really good steak,
I will.
and you have a mouthgasm.
Can I just say that she seemed to take a lot of pleasure in assuming that this story is even true. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, it is. So she's taking a lot of pleasure in her grandfather expressing humility and admitting that he was wrong about her.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone see the irony in that? That
yeah,
she herself has no humility. Like Richard Bier
and
said
can't
that
say she's wrong.
Yeah, but Richard Bier says that she was funny until she went full woke. Now, what I think, and this is what I said yesterday when we did this, is that when she started out, she didn't know if she was going to be successful, so she was extremely humble at first, or at least like was leaving a lot of room for mistakes and errors, and then when she blew up, it went right to her head and all of that was gone. So the problem is that she literally can't look in the mirror and say, what am I doing wrong? But she takes great pleasure in her grandfather saying it.
Well, her grandfather said that before she got her late night show, before all of this
insanity. I wonder what her grandfather thinks of this particular presentation.
I wonder what he thinks of her now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's still probably raking in the dough. I mean, if she just sat back and said, "Hey, I'm still making bank. Maybe I could take this money in my 15 minutes of fame and put it into some investments and start looking for my future instead of grabbing after the fame like some goddamn addict snorting coke off of, the floor."
She's got a TED Talk with 500,000 views, so
but that's the thing. She doesn't. You got your shot. You shot your shot. You fucked up. Okay? You got something most people will never get. And you're up here being ungrateful about it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a reason why There's this ancient wisdom about the whore of Babylon who's never fucking satisfied with anything. And just is gonna decide to destroy an entire civilization because she just ain't satisfied and she's unsatisfiable. Like, holy shit. Like, I don't think I could manage the psychological pressures of anything that she's doing. So maybe that's part of the issue. Like, she's just, like, entertainers at that level. I don't know. Maybe the male ones aren't quite, but a lot of them are just nuts.
Yeah.
Like, just pathologically nuts. So what we're looking at here is somebody's mental illness on display. Like, this shouldn't be applauded. This shouldn't be put on a stage. Somebody needs to tell her, you are acting out of a massive sense of narcissistic entitlement. You got more than most human beings will ever get. You are, like, you're not even, like, in a top percentage. Okay? You're, like, in a top, and you have to use a number to count the amount of people who get what you got.
Yeah.
And you are not grateful. That is going to be your downfall. Your pride. The fact that the world ain't enough for Lilly Singh.
Well,
You weren't spanked enough as a child. I'm just kidding.
It could be that because she was artificially propped up by YouTube.
Yeah.
She doesn't deserve the popularity she had, and she can't. You know, it's like what affirmative action does to some people.
Yeah, no, she was given a subsidy, and then she realized
she got a leg up, and then now she's
yeah.
like, oh shit, like, am I not good enough? And she can't make peace with the idea that maybe, like, her whole career is kind of a lie. Like, I mean, it's possible, or she's just lost all of her humility, and I think that, you know, that's a you problem. But this is what affirmative action does to people, though.
Once an entertainer loses their humility, they're never going to improve.
Yeah.
Well, and I think humility and humor go together.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like it's like you look at Bill Burr, you look at what's his name, Mulvaney, John Mulvaney. You look at all Mulvaney.
I don't know.
Mulaney. Mulaney.
Oh, okay.
Mulaney. You look at those guys, and like, they spend most of their time, right? Half their time is like criticizing themselves and dissing themselves for their foibles, their stupid, funny, ridiculous, idiotic foibles, right? Maria Bamford, like all of these actual super funny, Rodney Dangerfield, I get no respect, and it's like, for a reason, because he's constantly poking fun at himself. He's poking fun at his wife. He's poking fun at himself, right? And you can't do that if you have no humility. And what I noticed when I saw, like, a few clips of her opening monologues was, like, she never insulted herself. She never really, insulted herself. She wasn't like, I'm queer and I'm Indian and I'm a woman, and here's why that makes me a hot mess.
Mm-hmm. No,
right?
no, none of that.
It's
no,
like,
that's Eliza Schlesinger stuff. You want to hear a Rodney Dangerfield joke?
Yes.
Okay. My wife and I were happy for 20 years. Then we met. One night I came home. I figured, let my wife come on. I'll play it cool. Let her make the first move. She went to Florida. My doctor told me to watch my drinking. Now I drink in front of a mirror. I drink too much. Way too much. My doctor drew blood. He ran a tab. My mother had morning sickness after I was born. Okay, I'm done. See? That's humor.
Oh,
you can laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
I mean,
God, yeah.
There's no, he was one of the greats because he could laugh at himself. So
yeah.
Anyway, should we do more video?
Well, actually, I was going to say something. You know what's
Okay.
death for a character, a fictional character, in terms of audience sympathy? Sanctimonious judgment. Like if you make your character sanctimonious and judgmental.
Oh yeah, no, they that's what villains are.
Well, yeah, actually, you can create a sympathetic villain by just simply avoiding sanctimonious judgment.
Yeah.
He could be a freaking rapist, and as long as he's not sanctimonious and judgmental, or she could be a rapist, and as long as she's not sanctimonious and judgmental, you'll be like, oh, it's not that bad.
Or you'll be like, oh, she's redeemable.
Oh, she's redeemable, or he's redeemable. I could tame him.
Yeah, or basic. Well, that's just the common romance theme trope. But I could tame him, and then she does in like 300 pages or less, and they lived happily ever after. But yeah, no, it's basically anti-heroes. All the really good anti-heroes that I've met are deeply flawed, are deeply aware of their flaws, have some form of trauma or suffering, some catastrophe, right? One was sexually abused as an infant by his mother. You know, another one ended up having catching leprosy while he was working in freaking the Middle East or something like that, right? Like you have these people who they're anti-heroes because they're not nice, right? They're not. Sometimes they're really mean, and sometimes they do really horrible things to other people. Just absolutely atrocious things to other people, right? But by the end of the story, you're rooting for them. You're like, I'm really glad he escaped.
Yeah, and I guarantee,
really glad he got away from the cops, right? The
and I
space
guarantee
cops or
one
whatever.
trait that they never have is that they're sanctimonious and judgmental.
Yeah, no. They know they're
death.
They know they're bad. They know they're very bad, and they're like, and they don't necessarily make excuses for themselves, right? They feel bad about the things that they do, right? And they do justify it, but it's not all about, well, it was the right thing to do because I'm just right about everything.
Because no bad tactics, only bad targets. Yeah, let's get a bit more of this in.
Right.
I don't want to do 3 shows on this.
Okay, we'll
Actually, you know what? Look at the little lumps there. Let's see if there's like a lump that increases, because it's all pretty banal so far. Like, go scroll over the thing to make the lumps appear.
What?
Yes.
Yeah. Where do you want me to go? Like
basically,
right here?
I imagine that this long section of absolutely fucking nothing is just her. But there's a tiny little bump there. We could go there. Like,
All
yeah,
we'll
right
go
there.
To this bump right here. Okay, here we go.
Asian woman become vice president of the United States. Now, we witnessed one of the greatest protests in human history with the farmer protest in India. And I was excited to finally give my take on these things. But my take was almost never included in topical media news coverage roundups. We still got the same voices, the same perspectives, even though someone and something different was literally in the next time slot. I kept trying to pull up my seat. I kept trying to join the dinner conversation. I kept trying to ask for a more supportive seat. But every time I would be told that I should be grateful to have a seat in the first place.
Yes,
after all,
should be.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
no, but okay, so she's saying that she wants newspapers and mainstream media to broadcast her opinion on the farmer protests in India. She wants them to broadcast that to Americans. All right? No.
But
No.
you're just an entertainer, lady.
No, but like, yeah, you could do an in-depth freaking expose on a 2017 expose on corruption in Ukraine. You can do all kinds of foreign country issues, right? The Dutch farmers, the Indian farmers, right? The protests, the yellow vests, right? All of those things. Barely even, like, nobody knows about those in the US because they're not interested. They don't see those things as affecting them, right? They're not clickbait. And I'm sorry, but media these days is clickbait. And if you're talking American newspapers, American media, right? They're not going to spend a ton of page space covering the farmer protests in India. They're just not, right? Even if it does have an impact on the United States, Americans don't feel that impact. It's not right next door. Get out of the toilet! See how much more emotional I was over that than I was over the farmer protests in India? Sorry, I was yelling at my dog.
It's toilet gate, folks.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, she wants all of these things to supersede domestic issues, bigger global issues, right? All of these other things, American cultural issues, all of that, right? What's happening in India with the farmers, right? And it's like, people barely care what's happening in freaking Venezuela. They're like, oh, cheese is pretty expensive there. Well, sucks for them. Oh, they ate their pet rabbit? Well, that doesn't sound too good, right? It's like, it's too far away. She's like, I wanted to give my opinion on the farmer protests in India.
Why are people the way that they are?
Yeah,
why? People more like arbitrary creatures that just provide me attention?
You know, well, or it's like the constant lament of Marxists and communists is like, why don't people care as much about that dude living in Quebec, right? Why don't Albertas care as much as that one guy in Quebec as they do about their own flesh and blood child? Right? Yeah, no, you can't make people care. You can't make people care about people they don't know more than they care about their own fucking children.
And the other question I have listening to this is, how much does she actually care, aside from it can bring attention to her?
Well, she wanted to give her opinion on it. She didn't want there to be more she's not saying she wanted there to be more coverage.
There's not, why isn't there more coverage on this very important issue in my homeland? It's, why wasn't I given the attention? Because... Yeah. Okay, I feel like I'm getting a sort of a consistent sense to this person. Look, that's a nice big blob. Look at that lump. There's a good lump. Let's go for it. Yeah. Just press play, I think. We'll be right.
Everyone else that looks like me is still waiting outside the restaurant in the cold. And, you know, the strange thing about having a wobbly seat is that you spend so much time trying to keep it upright that you can never bring your full self to the table. So, now, why am I telling you all this?
Oh,
well,
joy.
Because my therapist costs $200 an hour, and this is way cheaper. But also because I just experienced one of the most notorious boys' clubs ever in late night television. And I'm here to offer solutions. I don't always follow up a venting session with solutions, but when I do, it's a TED Talk.
Oh, God.
What the hell are you laughing at, you
everything
weird pog?
Everything that men do.
Oh yeah, no,
people
but
like this have to break up. I don't even like the nighttime guys. I don't even like those guys.
Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, freaking Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. Yeah. Okay.
John Oliver. Trevor Noah.
In total, they have all together, added together, they have as much market share as Greg Gutfeld.
Yeah, or Tucker Carlson on Twitter. Or Joe
Rogan.
But
Greg Gutfeld is like a sort of semi-traditional talk show,
somewhat comparable.
late night talk show host, and so it's like, no, it's because like those guys are failing too. Those guys are failing too.
The ratings are terrible ratings. I saw the numbers; they're terrible.
Yeah, yeah, and so you're looking at it, and it's like, well, there's a reason they haven't been let go, and it's because those networks are desperate to try to at least retain enough of the stranglehold on the narrative, right, as they can. But you just weren't as.
Wait. I feel like we might be interrupting the enemy as it makes a mistake. I don't know. Actually, I think she's right. Those networks are incredibly sexist. And what they should do is they should find a whole bunch of women with exactly the same level of talent and dedication as her and replace all of those men with them. I think that would be the only way forward. Yeah. The only real way forward for those networks to truly embrace progressivism is to make
see if you can get Anna Kasparian to do comedy. Oh wait, she's starting to actually wake up, which is different from being woke.
Okay, but, I'm just saying what they should do is they should get a whole bunch of women with exactly the same level of talent as this woman. And I think she's right. These networks should replace all of their male hosts, because you're talking about how they're struggling to just retain what they can in order to keep some kind of control over the narrative. They should replace all of those male hosts who are at least managing to do that with female hosts who will bring their own unique value proposition to these networks. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it may not be much of a value to the networks, but it's a big value to me and everybody else who just wants to see that narrative go down in flames.
Yeah.
Because it will. You know what? This seems like it's self-correcting. This problem is just sitting at the sidelines watching, eating some popcorn, watching this problem correct itself. Yeah. Okay. Do we have another lump? Where's another lump?
We're building towards another lump.
That's right. You see, my goal was always a seat at the table. It's what women are conditioned to believe success is.
Women are conditioned? Where did you feminists taught you that. That's what feminists taught you.
Well,
what? No. How do you measure success? No, how do you measure success? Is it really a seat at the table? Or is it just looking back in your life and saying, you know what, I did pretty good? Mm-hmm. Is it being the top person? Is it being the top G? Or is it taking pleasure in what you have?
And also how you've helped people.
Yeah.
It's certainly not dying of shingles at age 90 while still serving in the U.S. Senate.
Right.
Well, after your own daughter had to get power of attorney over you because you can't be trusted to live alone or make your own financial decisions. So.
Okay, let's see.
And when the chair doesn't fit, when it doesn't reach the table, when it's wobbly, when it's full of splinters, we don't have the luxury of fixing it or finding another one.
And
but
neither do men. What the fuck
anyway.
do you think is going on? Wait, this is what's so infuriating. This woman. Okay, you look at let's just use an example of a war. You look at all the generals and say, "Oh, men have so many opportunities to have a seat at the table because look at all those generals, they're all men." And you don't see all of the soldiers. All of the soldiers, and often the generals had themselves to work up the ranks.
Yeah. From being an infantryman, yeah.
Men don't get a second chance to the seat at the table. Okay? There is plenty of stories of men who had a seat at the table, allegedly, whatever that means, and they lost it, and that's it. All of these, stories of the fall of the great whatever. Some of them are incredibly unpleasant.
Oh, God. Just look at the end of Braveheart.
Okay, so,
all right.
Yes. Men get one seat at the table. You got one seat at the table. You fucked it up. Goodbye.
Well, she didn't get hanged, drawn, and quartered.
Well, most men don't get a seat at the table.
Like
the overwhelming majority
men who actually get a seat at the table? Well, yeah, because
and she didn't get thrown into a snake pit and bitten to death by poisonous snakes like Ragnar Lothbrok, who happens to be one of my homeland's heroes.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Not my dad's
Let's
fault,
finish this lump because I think you
Let's
gotta
keep
go
going.
soon, right?
Yeah, we gotta go soon,
We take on that responsibility and we shoulder that burden. Well, I've been fortunate enough to sit at a few seats at a few different tables. And what I've learned is when you get the seat, trying to fix the seat won't fix the problem. Why?
What?
Because the table was never built for us in the first place.
This is killing
Okay,
me.
go find your own fucking
Build
table.
better tables.
What the hell does that even mean? Lady,
What?
what's the action plan for building a better fucking table? Or are you just
Exclude men.
puking out like corporate
No,
speak?
get men to build it.
Or, well, yeah, you're gonna ultimately have to get men to build it, but then you have to exclude men from it.
Okay, that's a
Allow me
harem.
to be your very own IKEA manual. I would like to
not
present to you a
funny.
set of guidelines I very eloquently call How to Build a Table That Doesn't Suck. I've been
Is there
told
any
I'm very
lumps in
literal.
this?
What?
Well, how is the lumps going for this?
Well, there's.
Oh, okay, there's a few. All right, let's listen to this.
All right.
How to build a table that doesn't suck from
Okay.
somebody who lost her seat because she sucked. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Now, right off the bat, let me tell you, this assembly is going to take more than one person or group of people. It's going to take everyone. Are you ready? Should we dive in? Let's do it.
Oh boy.
Up first, don't weaponize gratitude. Now, don't get me wrong, gratitude is a great word. It's
Yeah, it's
nice,
just a word
it's
to you.
fluffy, a solid 11 points in Scrabble. Okay? However, let's be clear. Although gratitude feels warm and fuzzy, it's not a form of currency. Women are assigned 10% more work and spend more time on unrewarded, unrecognized, and non-promotable tasks.
What is the stat? She's 10% more work in what?
In life, everything.
How the hell?
I think she's
Exactly.
talking about tits over the sink.
Oh, okay, so 10% more housework.
Emotional labor.
Yeah, and dishes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is basically her just complaining about stuff again.
Oh yeah.
It's not really an actionable step.
Well, I mean, like, okay, but let's look at the value of the work, right? And you know, the actual not just in terms of how valuable it is to the people who benefit from it, but how much of your energy and your blood, sweat, and tears that you have to expend or risk in order to do it, in order to perform it. It's, you know, like, okay, washing dishes is definitely not as hard as what my husband does for a living. I'm sorry. Neither is sweeping the floor.
How about another Rodney Dangerfield joke?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. I remember the time I was kidnapped and they sent back a piece of my finger to my father. He said he wanted more proof. I'm a bad lover. Once I caught a peeping Tom booing me. When I played in the sandbox, the cat kept covering me up. My father was stupid. He worked in a bank and they caught him stealing pens. All right, you can keep going.
Okay, let's watch a bit more of this. Okay, so the first step is bullshit. It's just a complaint. It's just whining. Because she doesn't want to feel grateful.
Of course not.
Yeah, no.
What this means is all the
What?
She doesn't want to feel grateful. That's why she thinks that gratitude is a weaponized word. That's
Yeah.
why she's trying to portray it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so you
don't-
can't even hold women to the standard of gratitude, basically.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
things
Okay,
men
I just
don't
want
want
to
to
point
do.
out that this list is basically whining about being a victim, not an
And
actionable
all
plan.
the things men don't want to do are being handed to women. Yeah, like dishes and sweeping the floor. You know, while the men go out in the cherry picker and fix the power lines, or, you know, build the deck, fix the porch, you know,
Yeah.
repair the concrete slab in the basement, you know, install the sump pump, snake the drains, right? Plunge the toilet. Like, while the men do those things, the women are doing the work that men don't want to do. And I can tell you exactly why this is, why men don't particularly like to do dishes and cooking and cleaning, right? It's because I identify with that. I don't enjoy maintenance at all. Like just general maintenance, cleaning, right? Washing dishes, cooking, laundry, the tasks that you do day after that are never for good. They're never done for the next 20 years. Like
There's no conclusion.
Yeah, you build a deck and it's done for the next 20 years. You build a fence and it's done for the next 20 years, right? No, when you do laundry, you take that last load out of the dryer, you fold it, you put it away, and then there's more fucking laundry. You turn around and you see more laundry, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hate that. And it's because I have certain masculine tendencies. And so I like project work. I like things that when you do them and then they stay done. That's what I like. And that's what men tend to like. You do them and then they stay done.
Yet they still do things like picking up garbage.
But maybe you have to fix them, right? Occasionally. But you don't have to really clean them. They're not a daily task. They're not like a daily chore, a weekly chore, right? Fixing your fence is not a weekly thing that you have to do, right? So it's like there is something to be said for when it comes to the division of labor within a couple, within a family. Women actually kind of are more amenable to those kind of I'm just gonna run the household. It's why they're administrative assistants and stuff like that. It's why the top careers for women perfectly mirror the top tasks that wives perform. Chambermaiding, making sandwiches, serving food,
nursing,
cleaning, nursing, just doing long-term care for people.
Yeah, women basically just do the same thing they did in the household.
That's right. They just do it for other people that they
not on their own terms. They don't do it at their own time and on their own property and with their own relatives. They just do it for somebody who doesn't give a crap about them, expects them to be there at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And work extra hours without pay. Yeah, great deal there, ladies. But anyway, let's move on. Let's finish this series of lumps before
I got a super chow, so I'm gonna read it really quick. So I got a super chow from Ergo Proxy for $5. Let me just give you a. Woo! And he says how to build a better table. What does it say here? Tips by someone who never crafted a single table in her life. Can I have my Nick Cage soundbite, please? I think this one is it. No, that one's not working. Hold on a second. There seems to be, there might be an issue with this. I do have the file. But for some reason, it's not playing. Try.
Testicle!
There it goes. Okay. Just took me a moment to find it. Okay, so that's it for the super child. Let's play some more of the video.
Are being handed to women. And a lot of those things largely include things that advance inclusivity, equity, and diversity in the workplace. So hear me when I say, a woman shouldn't be grateful to sit at a table. She should be paid to sit at a table.
So this is commie talk. She wants the state to force companies to force women to sit at tables, whether they want to or not.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, I'm sure there are plenty of women who want to sit at a table for money.
Yeah, sure.
And opine, but it's like,
okay, so
where's the value in that?
That was basically women are victims of gratitude. Make men give women seats at the table.
Yep.
Well, make men build a new table with new chairs, and entitle women to those chairs, and then pay women to sit in them.
Nobody sees the obvious problem. All right. In order to make this new table for women and the new appropriate chairs for women, you need a woman table industry, which then men will construct and they will excel at, and they will recognize each other's achievements in the woman table industry. And there will be a male CEO of women table construction, and there will be a male financial officer of women table construction. There'll be an entirely male woman table construction workforce, and then the women in the women tables sitting at the women table doing fuck all will, in their boredom, look over to the industry of the woman table industry and be like, well, why are we being excluded? Why are we being excluded from building women tables? Why are we being excluded?
There's too many men. It's male dominated, and we don't like that.
Men need to build a woman table building industry for women. And then they'll do that. They will build the woman table building industry for women, and then they will be very industrious. They will excel at it. They'll recognize each other's achievement with titles that reflect the things that they're good at. They'll probably make money in some way because, they have to live. And then the women who are the board of the industry, the women table building industry, will say, why are men excluding us from the women table building industry? And it never ends.
It never does.
Women tell men to build them something. Men build it. Then women complain. Why didn't you let us build it ourselves?
Yeah, that's really what it is.
It's good Lord, lady, stop. Please.
Yeah.
You're not... Well, you are entertaining. You're an entertaining specimen.
She is.
Okay.
I have to get going, so...
Yeah, your dogs seem to be really frenetic.
Yeah.
How many more lumps are there here, Brian?
There's
there's just a little bit left.
Tiny.
I think we can kind of predict the rest of this. I mean,
well, let's go through it. If you have like 5 minutes, Karen, let's just finish really quickly. Just the lumps.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Especially ones she largely helped build. And a woman's seat shouldn't be threatened if she doesn't seem grateful enough. In other words, corporations, this step involves a woman doing a job and being paid in money, opportunity, and promotion, not just gratitude.
What the fuck
and
are
women,
you talking
go ahead,
about?
live it up. Dude, live it
You
life.
were paid?
Of course she was paid.
And
She's
women,
on a TED Talk.
a moment of real talk. Trust me, I've
This
been
is
there.
capitalism. Like, she's literally saying, men, why don't you do capitalism? What?
But also, I hate capitalism. Yeah.
It is so tough.
Well, the problem with this is that people who deserve stuff get stuff. And she doesn't like that. No, she doesn't. That's why her show failed. She sucks. She's not funny. She's not entertaining. She tried to take full creative control and it collapsed in on itself. Like it was a prolapsed asshole when everything was done. And
so
now
she basically
she's like,
built the table and fell over, and now she's like, "What, men? Why didn't you build the table?"
Right.
Yeah, look, lady, you were in a position to build a table not just for yourself, but everybody else you employed, and you fucked that up, and that's on you. You build tables.
Still made money.
Yeah, well, she still made money. So what is she complaining about? She got everything she said she wants. Okay, sorry. Let's finish this quickly.
But we have to understand and remember that being grateful and being treated fairly are not mutually exclusive. I can be grateful but still know exactly what I deserve. And
you
that's
deserve
the way
to be canceled.
You got what you deserve.
Up next.
You just didn't want it.
Yeah, invest in potential.
Invest in potential. When investing in women, don't invest in the 1:30 a.m. time slot. Invest in empowering something different. Invest in a new voice. Give them the...
What?
No, actually, I think this is don't interrupt their enemy when they're making a mistake. Actually, Google networks that are currently employing the men who are marginal but still getting the narrative out there. No, I think she's right. I think she's absolutely right. You need to employ women with exactly her skill.
Yeah, no, they need to replace Colbert with her.
Yeah, replace Colbert with her. Replace
ahead,
all of your current mouthpieces with women exactly like her. Do it. It's the progressive way forward. And you should do that for every outlet that promotes progressivism. Replace it with people who can't sell it.
Yeah.
Do it. Okay, let's keep going.
The support they actually need. Cultural change takes time and money. Heck, it took my grandfather 25 years to see that I was worthy of more. So a true investment is one that values potential over proof. Because so often that proof doesn't exist for women. Not because we aren't qualified, but because we haven't been given the opportunity.
What? You were given the opportunity and you proved you couldn't do it. Jesus Christ. Okay,
Well,
let's
I'm sure.
A
I'm
1:30
sure they
a.m.
did-
time slot is unfair, though, even though Craig Ferguson had the same time slot.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that they didn't just say, okay, well, this bitch didn't work out at 1:30 a.m., so let's just put Snow on the TV, or like Fireplace on the TV from 1:30 a.m. to 2:30 or whatever it is, right? Let's just fill it with empty space with like the colored bars, right? Let's just do that instead, right? No, they put something else in there that people were willing to watch more than they were willing to watch her.
What did they replace her with?
I don't know, but I'm sure they replaced her with something. There's no such thing as dead air anymore. All TV stations are 24 hours nowadays, right? So this isn't the fucking 1970s or 80s where, a TV station went off the air at 2 a.m. and didn't come back on until like 4:30. No, they're 24/7. So they put something else there. Maybe it was infomercials.
Oh no, it was another woman. Lilly Singh was replaced with a woman named Amber Ruffin, and apparently Amber Ruffin is more popular. Let me just see what kind of ratings she's getting. I don't know anything about her.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
It's still pretty low. It's higher than Okay, so she's getting, let's see. I saw a clip of Amber Ruffin talking about the result of the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, which I found concerning because of assumed facts that she wrongly stated have probably unnecessarily perpetuated division. Okay, so she is a leftist.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's better.
She's on TV. I mean, you can be a funny leftist.
Yeah, like maybe she's just makes it more funny. She's black. So Lilly Singh was replaced by a black woman. She was replaced by a black woman, and she's on stage. She's on stage with this line of bullshit.
Yeah.
She's on stage with this line of bullshit, and she's being eaten up by these people. Why don't you tell your audience, Lilly Singh, that you were replaced by a black woman?
Well,
that she's doing better.
Yeah, the black woman is doing better than the model minority South Asian.
Yeah, why don't you tell the world that?
Like, cause isn't that the thing that blacks accuse, right, and Chinese of, right? Is or not Chinese, but like Japanese, Korean, like Filipino, whatever, right? They're model minorities, right? That's why they don't have the same arrest rates, the same.
Yes.
Yeah. They're white adjacent. Yeah. And so hey, white adjacent Lilly Singh, how about you answer that?
Why don't you lean in for Amber's show?
Yeah, and explain the inconvenient fact that a more oppressed minority woman was given your time slot, was given your show.
And apparently she's going to be renewed, so she must have done better.
Yeah.
Ooh, Lilly Singh.
Yeah, no, it's
inconvenient facts to your narrative.
Yeah, no.
No, maybe you just suck. Okay.
Maybe you do. So.
All right.
A little bit more.
Yep.
In other words, if you're trying to be inclusive, don't give someone new a seat made of straw until they prove they deserve a better one. Don't hold them against something called a prove it again bias, which requires less privileged people to constantly keep proving themselves, even though white men tend to get by on just their potential.
Okay, so what about Amber, Lily? How come Amber's being renewed and you weren't? Okay, does sexism only work for women, white adjacent women, but not black women?
No, I don't know what that is.
You know what? I don't want to watch any more of this. When Karen goes, I'm done.
I'm going.
This is a bunch of self-indulgent, narcissistic bullshit.
Yeah.
Do you have any last words, Brian?
Language.
Karen?
I just have to say I have to go away because my female dog Kevin, who was so desperate to go outside, didn't like the fact that the grass was wet and so wouldn't go pee. And now she's howling to go out.
Well, the grass is still probably going to be wet, Kevin.
Yeah, but she'll be more desperate to actually empty her bladder. So I'm going to go.
All right. Go tend to Kevin.
Then I have to go to dinner with a friend. So,
yes.
Life
moves on. We've done. We've looked at Lilly Singh for quite some time now, and I can say that I have satisfied any desire I have to look at her face.
Or to know anything about her, yeah.
Or know anything about her.
Enjoy your dinner.
Enjoy your dinner, Karen.
Okay.
Hopefully Kevin finally pees. Have a good night.
She will. Eventually, it just like she can. Not so.
Okay.
All right. Good night.
All right. It's just me and you, Brian.
All right. What are we going to continue or?
Do you really want? Do you think that she's going to turn it around? Well, there's one last lump. There's one last lump.
Like over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, let's play this.
So there's many other women that are going to come on this stage, and I hope they all nail it, and I will be cheering you all on, because we can all win.
But not Amber.
And I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader when you're up here.
What about Amber?
Last, it's time to upgrade the table talk. Now, I believe stories make the world go around. You thought it had something to do with the solar system? Joke's on you, it's stories. Stories are how we understand
God.
Well, she's not wrong about this, but where is she going with it?
Ourselves, how we understand others, and
how
we understand the world.
A story, that's for sure.
And arguably the most important stories are those we see in the media. Because we've seen time and time that they control the narrative and impact culture.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to genre, you can argue that certain genres have certain target demographics. When it comes to the world news,
who knows? Let's find out.
Okay, the target demographic is the world. And we know half of the world is female. Yet women and girls make up only a quarter of the people interviewed or that the news is even about in the first place. Instead, when it comes to issues that impact women, we not only need to be included in the coverage, we need to be driving those stories and dimensionalizing our own experience. Inviting everyone in on the table talk isn't just a nice gesture. It makes for better, more productive, smarter conversation with more than one point of view. And
okay, this is dumb.
Yeah.
First of all, mostly the news is about generic things that impact a lot of people. A lot of the news is about disasters, and guess who deal with disasters? And that's a big part. A lot of it's news, a lot of it's war, and guess who has to clean up for war? All right. So what is your issue here? That there's not enough of what? If it was interesting, even to women, it would be on the news. Because women are primary consumers of news.
Well, and also we do focus on women in news.
Yes.
Like whenever there's a tragedy, we talk about the females that are affected, even if men are more affected. So I don't know what she's coming from. I guess her
problem is that, the experts on things are more often to be men. The men who are resolving issues are more often to be men. The men who are fighting wars are more often to be men. The men who are dealing with taking responsibility for the decisions that need to take place for a society to operate, more often to be men. But again, you're right, Brian. Let's look at, instead of who is doing stuff, and usually that means they're doing stuff for other people, let's look at who do we care about in terms of how things affect them. That's overwhelmingly female. All right. Were you really going to complain that men are more? And once again, it's the men are the ones who are responsible for building the woman table, the lady table.
Mm-hmm.
How dare they? Like, they should build the table, and then when they build the table, how dare they stop us from having built the table? This is all just her a victim of shit. These are not actionable steps. They're nothing that she could actually do. She lost her thing because she's an unbearably self-righteous person. And incidentally, she could do a lot of work by just telling people to watch Amber's show, but she isn't, because it destroys her narrative that she's a victim because she's a woman.
Yeah, she's not going to cheer Amber on. She won't even mention it. OIC gives us $1 in Rumble and says, my face went while listening to her jokes. And then puts like a, I guess, what is it, a deadpan expression? So, thank you, OIC.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Yes, they are really bad. They are really, I don't get it. Like, I mean...
Yeah, well, I mean,
I could
it's
only
just...
assume she was artificially propped up.
The feminists are like, I'm a victim of X. Why aren't you laughing? Well, are we supposed to laugh at your victimhood?
Yeah, right. Are we supposed to find that funny?
Are we supposed to find that funny? Because, yeah. Or alternatively, wow, men really suck, huh? Is that supposed to be funny? I guess it is for a lot of people, but... You know what? I'm done with this. I don't want to look at this pink suit anymore.
Okay. Well then,
I've avoided commenting on it. It's really ugly.
It is. It's very... She looks like a clown. It's a clown suit. Look at that. It looks like a Batman villain would wear that.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm gonna stop sharing it.
Yes, I'm a Batman villain.
Yeah.
My villainous name is Diversity Hire.
DIE.
Die.
Anyway.
Okay.
Oh, any more thank yous to give or anything?
No, not at the moment. I just want to remind everyone we have 1 day left. We haven't moved the needle since the beginning, or at least since Health Potion Addict put something through. But we do have $690 to go. 1 day left to do it. So if you are wanting to help us out, please do so now. feedthebadger.com/support. And if you enjoy this show and you want to comment on anything that happened, or just tell us that you really like our work, or tell me that I'm too loud, because I've been a lot more careful about getting close to the mic, and maybe that's upsetting people. I don't know. But just do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. A lot of you seem to enjoy confusing the hell out of us, and you'll have much more space to do it at feedthebadger.com/justthetip, and we will get the full benefit of whatever monies you send. So it's a win-win. So once again, support us at feedthebadger.com/support. Send us a tip and a message at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And back to you, Brian.
Okay, so if you guys like that video, please smash like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you think about what we discussed on the show today. You can check out the full video in the description. I have no idea why you'd want to watch it. But there it is, in case you want to make sure that we didn't just, create some deep fake of this TED Talk. No, it's real. It happened. She did it. And please share this video, because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
I just want to say one conclusion.
Okay.
She got an incredible opportunity and she blew it. And now she's manufacturing more attention for herself by pretending that it was a form of victimhood, when she has been replaced by another woman, a black woman, who she doesn't even mention, as far as I can tell. Unbelievable. Like the gall. Just astounding. Anyway, continue, Brian.
All right, well, please share this video, because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of the Rantzerker, and we will talk to you all in the next video.
Men's right activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.